According to some recent research done by the Barna Group, since Easter, 48% of churchgoers have stopped watching church online. Of the ones who are still watching church online, 40% are watching the services of their home church, while about another 23% are watching the services of a church that's not their home church. We are struggling at this time to really wholeheartedly put ourselves into worship during this pandemic season. Whether it's an online worship service that's different, or maybe a modified in-person worship service that's a little different. And while we know these options are far from the ideal for us, there is still a lot we can do to make the most out of these opportunities for worship. As a matter of fact, there are 7 things specifically that we can do that will help transform our times of worship regardless of the setting we're in. And Richard Foster talks about these in his book, The Celebration of Discipline, and I want to share them with you today. The first is this: learn to practice the presence of God daily. Take seriously Paul's instruction to pray without ceasing, 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Make each day a continuing conversation with God. This has a way of preparing our hearts and attuning our hearts to His heart in preparation for those moments of worship. Number 2, try many different experiences of worship. Worship isn't just something we do when we're together on a Sunday morning in the building. You can worship when you're by yourself in the car, listening to music, perhaps on K-Love or something like that. You can also worship around the family piano with others that are in your household, singing the familiar hymns of the faith. Or you can tune into our Facebook live feed every Wednesday morning and listen to instrumental worship music. But give yourself opportunity to worship in those different experiences. Number 3, find ways to prepare for worship. Are you hungry? Are you tired? Are you rushed? When we are in those modes, it's hard for us to do anything well. So make sure you get plenty of sleep, you eat well, and even spend some time with God before you enter into that moment of worship, whether opening the laptop or heading to the church building. Number 4, have a willingness to be gathered in the power of the Lord. Set aside your own agenda for worship and pray for the people who are participating in worship with you, even as the service is going on, that the power of God and the presence of God would be something they experience in a mighty and powerful way, in a meaningful way for them. Number 5, cultivate holy dependency. Enter worship utterly and completely dependent on God for anything significant to happen, period. Number 6, absorb distractions with gratitude. You hear a child crying, or maybe the technology's glitching, use that as a moment to thank God for the presence of that child in the worship service, or to thank God for the people who are behind the camera or at the soundboard trying to make that service happen. Number 7, learn to offer a sacrifice of worship. There are times when we won't feel like worshiping, but we should do it anyway. Offer your time as a sacrificial offering to the Lord. So how do you get to the end of this then and know that you've worshiped? How do you know you've gotten there? I believe there's 2 things that really are indicators. Number 1, do you feel convicted? Number 2, have you felt called? Has something in the service convicted you, maybe of sin in your life or something you need to deal with? And number 2, have you felt called to serve the Lord in some capacity? Those are the things that we saw in Isaiah. In Isaiah chapter 6, after he had this encounter with the Lord, he walked away, and his reaction to it was to say this: "Here am I, send